Today, guys, we're going to talk about all those taboo topics that we never talk about on this channel. Things like dominance-based training or prong collars or electric shock collars and a lot of other stuff too. These are things that you should know about because while not all these tools, frankly, are cruel in and of themselves, they all can certainly be used in a way that's cruel and frankly, really ineffective while you're training your Doberman. And yes, some of these techniques are, in my opinion, definitely more cruel on a Doberman over other breeds, and I'm definitely going to tell you and show you why. And yes, I'm actually going to give this shock collar a try because, well, I'm just feeling dedicated to this topic today, and it's certainly one of those devices that can definitely be used and abused. So let's do power level 10. Let's see how this feels. All right, now, right here on Doberman Planet. Whew! It's no joke. The host was not harmed during the making of this video, only his pride. Okay, well, this is a great time to honestly start off talking about shock collars because as you can imagine, what you just saw, these can definitely be used in a way that can be abusive to your Doberman. And guess what? Dobermans, much like me, have a very short coat. And so these shock collars, they make great contact with their skin very easily. I do want to be really clear about one thing though. I personally don't consider shock collars for safety purposes as cruel. I do, however, consider them being used for training purposes regularly as being fairly cruel, and I'll explain why. So what you saw in the intro of this video, this shock collar was set up to 10 out of 10. It was at 100% power. It's definitely something a little jarring. This right now is set on 1 out of 10, which is 10%. And I can feel it, but it's kind of like, actually it's not even as bad as getting a static shock on the carpet. So using a shock collar for training purposes, really no matter what the setting is set at, it's still a use of negative reinforcement type of training. In other words, it's training your dog to behave a certain way in order to avoid something negative. And Dobermans, they're really very sensitive to this because they're just so in tune with us at such a high level, and they're just such owner-pleasing dogs. And so they'll easily develop increased anxiety as a result. In fact, one study on negative reinforcement-based training said, quote, punishment during training was associated with an increased incidence of problematic behaviors. We conclude that it may represent a welfare concern without concurrent benefits in obedience. So in other words, it increases anxiety, it leads to problematic behaviors, and as this study found, there were no concurrent benefits in obedience anyway. However, I don't believe using a shock collar as a safety device is cruel, but that's very different than using it for just ongoing training. So just as an example, let's just say if your Doberman is off leash somewhere and everything goes wrong, including what was hopefully your really thorough recall training, and your dog is in a full sprint towards a busy highway, and I'd say if you had to use a shock collar to stop your dog in that scenario, sounds like you may have just saved your dog's life. So that's what I mean when I say using it as maybe a safety device isn't as cruel, at least not in my opinion. The next cruel technique on Dobermans is alpha or dominance-based training. Yes, I've used the word alpha many times and I'll continue to use it, but believe it or not, those old school alpha or dominance-based training techniques are actually fairly cruel. So when I say that alpha or dominance-based training is cruel, I'm not referring to being a consistent, calm alpha or leader for your Doberman. That is very necessary for this breed's development. Definitely, absolutely lead your Doberman. They need that. What I'm referring to is the old school alpha term of dominating your dog in order to gain compliance. This is, in its essence, just another form of negative reinforcement training. And as we've learned, it can lead to increased anxiety and undesirable behaviors as an adult. So don't try to dominate your Doberman. Lead them. It's very different. If you lead them correctly, they'll look to you for guidance, and you'll naturally just develop a really strong bond with your dog. I do want to take a second to give a shout out to the sponsor of this video who made this video possible, Ollie Dog Food. Ollie uses whole vegetables and real clean human grade ingredients in all their foods. Ollie's food is minimally processed and it's just cooked at really low temperatures as a way to preserve the nutrients that are usually lost with normal dog food cooking techniques. They work very closely with vet nutritionists to design their meal plans, which are really nutritionally balanced and they're proportioned just right for your pup and your situation. And protein plays such an essential role in helping to build muscles and keeping our dogs healthy. And that's why Ollie uses only high quality animal protein. They just use real chicken, beef, turkey, and lamb, and it's the first ingredient in every Ollie recipe. And they know the important science of pairing this animal protein with plant-based protein as well, such as peas, chickpeas, lentils, and other things, and it just provides a real complete and balanced protein source for our Dobermans. And we'll have the link to Ollie down below in the description, along with a coupon code that you can use to get a big discount off your first box. It's Doberman Planet, it's all caps, just like you see right now on your screen. So give Ollie a try, and I'm telling you, your pup is gonna thank you. Next is deprivation-based training methods. Essentially, this is depriving something from your Doberman if he or she is not behaving in the way that you want. Now, I think most of us can agree that depriving your dog of food or water or a comfortable warm bed at night because they misbehave, that's cruel. But what I see more often than that, honestly, is depriving a Doberman of attention when people are just overwhelmed with the training of that dog. These dogs thrive off their interactions with us humans. They get security from it, they get confidence from it and fulfillment. Being as intelligent as they are, they actually learn more about us and they fit in better as a family environment from these ongoing interactions. But if you deprive them of attention or really any type of human interaction that they need on an ongoing basis, it really is cruel for these dogs, and it can lead to increased anxiety and ultimately negative behaviors as a result. So my biggest warning here is this. Be careful not to subconsciously do this when you're frustrated. That's what I see the most. Specifically during like the teenage phase when they're really pushing the boundaries, or really any point when they're under 1 year of age, frankly, those can be the most trying times and the easiest time to kind of, without even knowing it, without even thinking about it, find yourself so overwhelmed you might just kind of start avoiding your Doberman for a while. And if you want more about what to expect during this horrible teenage phase so that hopefully it doesn't hit so hard that you kind of subconsciously just start avoiding your Doberman and cause long-term issues, check out this video up here in the corner of your screen that's all about what's gonna happen during this really hard time with a Doberman, so you'll get an idea of what to expect and you can prepare yourself for it. Next up are prong collars, and if you're using them the way they're meant to be used, they should be kind of high up on the dog's neck, and you put them around the dog's neck so that these little prongs here are resting against the dog's neck, and when you hook a leash onto the attachment here and you pull, or there's any pulling whatsoever, it cinches down on the dog's neck and creates kind of these pressure points around the neck. Now, like the shock collars, I think there's a right way and a wrong way to use these, and even a cruel way to use these with a Doberman. The right way would be using these, again, kind of as a safety tool. You know, if you're very small and your Doberman is just very large, or maybe you're older, or you have a certain injury you're trying to be careful of, and you're walking a 100-pound Doberman, and that could literally be dangerous for you otherwise, and of course, I feel like that's kind of a different story. But if you're using a prong collar on a Doberman when you haven't taught them the concept of yielding to leash pressure yet, you know, that's where you teach them that a slight pressure to the right means for them to go right, or slight pressure to the left means for them to go to the left, and that kind of thing, then these are absolutely cruel devices to use in that case, in my opinion. Or if you're planning on correcting your dog by purposely tugging hard or jerking on the leash when they've done something wrong and they have this prong collar on, then yes, those are definitely cruel ways to use it. There's no shortcut to good leash training here, guys. There are other tools that you can use, such as no-pull harnesses, or harnesses with a chest clip. You clip it on the chest, and if they pull, it turns them around. Or even gentle leaders, such as this one. This goes over the dog's head and nose, and when you clip on the leash, it clips just beneath the muzzle, and if they try to pull, it makes them turn back and look at you. And that's kind of the motivation with these types of things, not to pull. It's not pain motivated, but it's just kind of an annoyance, because if they try to go forward, it actually makes them look backwards. So there are these tools that can have a similar effect and not cause pain on your Doberman. Lastly is physical punishment. This is things like hitting your dog, throwing something at your dog, smacking your dog, or even just flicking their nose, for example. Essentially, yes, this too is also negative reinforcement training and has been proven to be counterproductive. And I believe this is especially the case with a dog breed that's very sensitive to its human counterparts, such as the Doberman. So these techniques of, flicking your dog in the nose, for example, although they were once popular in Doberman forums like all over the internet long ago, I remember that quite clearly, that's really not the case anymore. It's pretty widely accepted now that this is not an effective method for training a Doberman, or at least the drawbacks definitely outweigh the reported benefits. And with Dobermans, honestly, they have so much natural drive to please us as their owners that really you can easily leverage positive reinforcement training so much that there's really usually no need for anything else anyway? I mean, these dogs are among the world's most trainable dog breeds. In fact, there were 2 studies done in the 80s where one rated the Doberman as the #1 most intelligent dog breed in the world, and the other rated them as the most trainable dog breed in the world, the first place. And with a breed like that, why do anything else? So if you guys could help me out, I'd appreciate it. Share this video around so we can help Doberman owners everywhere understand the importance of positive reinforcement training with their dogs. Let's help this breed and help other owners in this process. So please, please consider just sharing this video one other place, one spot somewhere else out there among a Doberman community. And if you've enjoyed what I said here today and it really resonates with you and the way that you train your dog, please hit that like button down below. It's that little thumbs up button, and it helps more than you might think with YouTube. And of course, while you're down there, make sure you're subscribed and click that bell icon too, so that you'll get all notifications and don't miss our next release, the one that's actually coming up pretty soon. Keep being great Doberman breed ambassadors, guys. And of course, I'll see you on the next one. I don't know if you can see that right there, but that was power setting 10 right there. It's no joke. We'll definitely wake you up in the morning.